Cino here. Damn, she'll need a haircut. What's good? What's good? What's good? Hope everybody's safe and blessed. We're about to get into it here. Oh, at least I found the other remote. All right. That made sense. Oh, what's good, good people? Now, what's up, Chris G? I see you. Okay, people are giving their opinions already. We ain't even gotten there yet. So, telling by the way this is set up here, a lot of my notifications were blocked or not received. It's okay. This wasn't done for that reason. So now, let me get to the point. Joe Budden, Rory and Maul, and Parks are all back together again on the podcast. People claimed it wasn't over money, which was never the case. This was a respect issue. We were told we knew nothing about what we were talking about. And it comes to find out that it was exactly what we were talking about. So I don't understand the disconnect. Especially for those who were doubting us on our end. Now, anyone watching this, everybody seems to believe Rory and Maul are being ungrateful. It is the Joe Budden podcast. So they basically don't have any say. Which isn't true. There are a bunch of people that are saying the replacement guys were better than Rory and Maul. Whoever said that are a bunch of idiots. But they do have a bunch of idiots that watch the show. The show was no way, shape, or form better with those guys on the show. Because if the show was better with those other guys on the show, they would have continued with doing the show with those guys, trust me. Business-wise, they wouldn't have broke that up. So when Rory and Maul wasn't there, it definitely had an effect on the show. That's why their asses was on the couch today. Okay? So don't be fooled by that. Hit the like button if you just got in here. We know you didn't get a notification. I know why, but we understand you didn't get a notification. Ish and Ice. First off, the names Ish and Ice don't fit. They just don't have a nice ring to it. It's Joe Budden with Ish and Ice. No, that don't have a good ring to it. I'm sitting here with Ish and Ice. I say something, they agree. That's what the show is. I'm sorry, that's what the show was like without them. Without Rory and Maul, there was no real pushback. There was no real opinionated point of view. I said stupid people would believe Ish and Ice were better. So if you said you like Ish and Ice, then we already know where you register. Because there's no way in the world Ish and Ice was better. I mean, it's not. That's just pure, I don't like Rory or Maul or somebody saying that. That's just retarded. If you know anything about podcasting or anything about chemistry, I don't want to go there to see somebody who can't basically, they're like his homeboys. You ever have a conversation with a homeboy or have a conversation with someone who has really their own opinion? Sometimes your homeboy could have his own opinion about one thing, but Ish and Ice is there for the bag. They're there for the show. You know, they loving this opportunity they got. They're not there to rock the boat with Joe. They're not willing to say something that Joe might not like. That Joe's going to be, hey, no, shut up. They're not willing to go that far. Rory is sensitive and emotional. Yes, he is. But let's get to the topic at hand. On this episode, on the actual return. First, Rory and Maul returning to the show is better for the show. It just literally is better. It's better for the show. I don't feel that the situation that took place was all Rory and Maul, like everyone else seemed to believe here. Yes, it is the Joe Budden podcast. And them knowing Joe Budden, you should know one or two things. It's going to implode. Anything Joe Budden has done is going to blow up like a bomb. Meaning the people around him are the ones that's going to get the shrapnel. Everyone who is a friend of Joe Budden or in business with Joe has either lost a job because of Joe's blowing it up. Everyday struggle was hot, biggest thing on the planet. Joe blew it up. State of the Union, Joe blew it up. Joe blows up shows. This is what he does. He went to Slaughterhouse. He blew it up. Joe is the show, then Joe can do the show by himself. He can't. Joe needs a partner to dance with. Rory and Maul fits that criteria perfectly. That's like saying academics could do the show with just him and Wayno. As you saw, that show fell to the ground. No Joe, no show. Can Rory and Maul do the show without Joe? No, they tried that. It does not work. They are a three-headed monster. Parks is behind the camera. But they are a three-headed monster. You have three different personalities all together. Joe is insecure? Absolutely he is. So when Rory was saying why he left the show, it was not his intentions to leave. What he wanted was some affirmation. Okay? A lot of white people love affirmation. They do. They love it. They want to get their kudos. If they don't get it, they pout. We don't give a damn. Blacks rarely give a damn about affirmation. We can give a damn about how anybody feel or given anything, because we know damn well we haven't gotten anything given to us. Period. So we don't give a damn. So the slight form of disrespect from Joe, and it's been happening. See, Rory, a lot of people can't deal with their problems. And we're going to start with Rory right now. Let's start with Rory. Rory has other problems going on, and I've seen this happen with a lot of people. Hispanic. Some people can't face their own BS. So what they do is they put the channel and energy on somebody else. So they can get mad at them and blow up at them, but they really mad about another situation they got going on that they don't want to deal with. And rather deal with that reality, they'll take it out on somebody else or blame them for the whole situation altogether, knowing damn well it ain't their fault. But they need someone to go at where they feel it's safe to do. Rory, partly of what he was going through, he was in an emotional state because things are not right at home. So he's already not in a good mood. So when Joe says some things that normally he would let slide, now the buildup is too much to take. And all of them wanted was some respect from Joe. And when it was between Rory and Joe, that's where this whole conflict was. Maul was brought in, none of your business. And Maul was like, wow, really? If it was none of my business, why would you invite me over to your house? Why'd you invite me to your house to talk about it? If it's none of my business. It said that the show basically is none of your business, Maul. And Joe was like, I was wrong for that. Of course. But when he said he doesn't owe his friends respect, saying that I naturally give respect, so I don't feel I owe anybody. He's saying, so the people you built this with, your friends, you don't feel you owe your friends respect? That lets you know right there the mind of Joe Budden. He thinks owing is entitlement. I'm not entitled to give you respect. If someone is giving respect, they get respect. That's how it works. You give respect, you get respect. But it's about your character. Joe is known for being a disrespectful human being. So when you want a disrespectful human being to all of a sudden have an epiphany and go, wow, you know what? You're right. Joe's never going to see it your way because in his mind, he feels it's entitlement. because it's all about Joe. So you know you're not going to get this respect from Joe. Joe's not going to respect you. He doesn't. But I understand what Joe is saying when they saying, well, we got to stop the show till we figure this out. Joe is like, stop the show. You know, there's other people on the show that got to get them paid. You know, so I understand what Joe is saying. He put his whole life on the line for this show. All these guys got other things going on. This is all Joe got going on. The Joe Budden podcast, if that goes down, Joe goes down. That's it. That is who Joe Budden is. That podcast is him. 100% Joe Budden. Joe Budden does not grow. Joe is a guy who believes he's always right and he's stuck in his ways. He's stuck in his principles. And then it takes years for him to admit maybe he should have handled something a different way. But in his mind, he doesn't feel that way. He feels that, well, since the majority of the people said I was wrong, then maybe I was wrong. Will they ever go back to being the same? No, that's damaged. Forever. That is forever damaged. They will never go back to being the same. They can lie to each other and tell each other, man, nothing's gonna change, man. We bros for life, man, bros. That's never gonna change. That is already, it is already there. Nothing's really been resolved. As you can tell from right now, they still have the same issue. They have the very same problem going on. The lack of respect from Joe. He doesn't respect you. He don't respect your worth. He says he does. He knows your worth, but he doesn't really respect it. Because he feels in his heart of hearts, you abandoned the show. In Joe's mind, you abandoned the show. And they's like, that's not what happened. What they were thinking was, we're going to go back and have a conversation about all this. That's what they were thinking. We're going to go have a conversation about all of this in the back. Because that's what friends do. Let's go have a conversation. All of us should have sat down. Now, how it should have been handled is just like that. If there was a problem and we have a friendship and then we have a business, for the business sake and for the friendship's sake, we need to all sit down and have a conversation. It doesn't need to be this long distance. I'm talking to you there. I'm talking to you here through a text. All that garbage. It needs to be a conversation had immediately with the parties involved. That's something Joe did not do. Joe didn't feel he needed to. That's another problem. Now, if you're Rory and Maul and you're on this show, what you need to understand is this. You've tied yourself to Joe Budden. You know Joe Budden at any point in time will blow this thing up. He has taken you from Spotify. He's moved you all over the board. He's a checker piece that has moved all over the board. The Joe Budden podcast now is worth a lot of money. And when you start talking 7 figures, people losing out on money, that's a problem. So no, nobody's going to stop a show, as I would never stop a show. One, because it's stupid to stop the show. Two, because it's stupid to talk about stopping a show. Why would I stop the show? But like I said, had they had this conversation, as soon as this happened, nip it in the bud early, because this affects everything. If y'all had problems or any issues, y'all should hash it out in the room and say, all right, we got everything off our chest. Now, let's get to business. Let's get to the show. But if you feel like it's my show, I don't have to hear anybody. Maul, this is none of your business. Just show up to do your job. Now, if you act like that, why the hell are you gonna show up? Especially if you already got money. If you already got money, you can just chill. You told Rory he can take episodes off. So if you're just gonna up and make that decision without even conferring with your other co-host on the show, who was Maul, you've already made that decision and got mad that Maul decided to go with Rory. And he's like, I'm not going with Rory. I'm doing this for the show. We all have a chemistry here. If he's not here, if one of us is not here, it does not make sense. Joe don't understand that. Joe just feels you should show up to podcasts. That's it. So I understand both elements and both sides of it. I would have never said stop the show or the show should stop until we figure this out. That's insane. Show got to go on. Other people got to get paid. The show, one monkey don't stop the show. So if y'all have an infraction or whatever, I would never be upset that the show continued, because it's not about that. I'm not trying to stop the show until we do what we got to do. That's insane. Why would I stop the show? So you want to stop the show till Joe feels he respects you? Like what's the end result? My thing is, I'm taking myself out of the equation, so I don't care what you do with the show. That's my look of it. So I'm not going to tell somebody else to stop something so somebody else can stop making money. It's not about the money. So why would you want to stop the show? Maul felt like let's stop the show based on the fact that the chemistry isn't there. Without Rory and Maul, the show should have just been stopped, because you ruined the brand by just putting anybody on the show. That just would ruin it. Let's just all come back together, because this is a group. Now a lot feel like this is Joe Budden's show. Tell Rory and Maul get their own show. But you telling me Ish and Ice is better than Rory and Maul? You obviously don't know podcasting. Would I watch a Rory and Maul podcast? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not watch a Rory and Maul podcast unless it's with Joe. Would I watch Joe Budden by himself without Rory and Maul with Ish? And I couldn't sit through that. Ish and Ice? Really? It was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm going to tell you right now how bad it was. It was so bad. Listeners was like, man, I kind of miss Rory and Maul. If you look in the comment section, all these people who say they love Ice and Ish, Look in the comment sections. They were telling you like, man, this just don't seem right. This just don't seem like it's the same thing. Exactly. Because it's not the same thing. Brother, you are fooled by numbers. People wanted to see what was this new show about and what was happening. The numbers jumped up initially because of the beef or this discord. People wanted to see what was going on. So because they had all this talk with Rory and Maul and they got these new guys on there, the numbers were up because they were assuming Joe's finna start talking about Rory and Maul on the show with the new guys. Don't be fooled. Come on, man. Gosh, you can't be this dumb. Wake up. There's a spike in numbers because of curiosity. Then the numbers start to go down. When people get over that situation, the numbers go down. When they get to their numbers where they're supposed to be. Your adherence. How long are the people there? Duration. All of those things is what matters. That are not there anymore. People don't watch Ish and Ice longer than they do Rory and Maul. They're not opinionated. This is the reason why Max Kellerman was failing. And he's different, and he'll never be Skip Bayless or anything like that. He's a real journalist. He doesn't have an opinion. He's not opinionated enough. So once they start making the changes and start trying to fix Max Kellerman to get him where they needed to be, they were auditioning other guys to work with Stephen A. Smith. You see, Maul and Rory are two different personalities. Rory's more emotional. He's more logical. Maul hates everything that moves. Joe Budden is the optimistic, bipolar force of energy. All three of them together on one set gives you a perfect balance of a podcast show. Maul cannot be swayed by Joe's persuasion or he's Joe Budden, I'm Maul, so I gotta back down. He writes my checks. None of that's gonna take place with them. They're gonna stand their ground on what they think. Damn well Maul would do it to a degree where it pisses Joe off live on the show. And Joe, he still won't change. Maul is still gonna sit there and say it. Because Maul believes 100% in what he's saying. You are not going to get that out of Ish and Ice. Ish and Ice was happy to be there, happy to get a check. No disrespect. No disrespect to them. But Ish and Ice, come on, let's be serious. They were better than Rory and Maul. Well, I tell you, man, people will say anything nowadays. They're not. They're not better than Rory and Maul. They don't even know how to be better than Rory and Maul. Of course, that played a part into it. Definitely with Rory, Maul can give a damn about academics. Look, the academics thing, that Joe was entertaining. Joe feel like I can do it because it's good for the show. Rory feels like it's disrespectful. And Joe doesn't care. You're asking for respect from somebody who's very antisocial, very stuck in their ways, and gonna do what the hell they want to do anyhow. Joe don't care about other people's feelings. I mean, you talking feelings and Joe Budden. Joe should have said this. Joe should have had respect. Joe can give a damn. Joe thinks about, I'm gonna do the job. That's all he cares about. Friendship is friendship. But then when you start talking crazy to Joe, or saying like you want to physically put hands on Joe, now Joe thinks it's something else that's probably been brewing a long time ago, that you really wasn't Joe's friend. Now Joe is, he's bipolar, he's very insecure, so right away, you've been thinking like this a long time. Maybe you were never my friend. Now I gotta reevaluate what I thought was my friend. It's a whole lot of dumb stuff that takes place. And why does it take place? Because you got the wrong people involved in the situation. You want people to be who they are not. You already should know this is Joe, and this is what Joe does. Why would you expect Joe Budden to do something not Joe Budden? Joe Budden said he don't feel like he owe anybody respect. That lets you know right then and there. He still at this moment in time feels he doesn't owe you respect. So if he's like, friends don't owe respect. So if he's telling you right to your face, we don't owe you respect, I mean, damn, you should have walked out right then and there. Unless you just gonna do it for the job, show up and do your job and go home. But the friendship is dead. I mean, I wouldn't even be friends with Joe. I mean, how do you be friends with Joe? I don't even think Joe really had friends. I mean, you think about it. He can't, dude, every friendship, anything he's had, it always blows up. Everything he has blows up because of Joe. That's not Rory and Maul. That's Joe. But you got to know that when you in business with somebody, you got to know their personality. You know what kind of person Joe is. You ain't just figured this out. You know this man don't respect nothing. He don't. How much time and energy did other people put into that? Oh, Charlemagne and Andrew, that thing's still going on? Like, why are they even doing that? Didn't he try to shop around and get a new host and couldn't find anybody to do the job? So he had to stick with Andrew Schultz? They still got that show going on? Wow. That's a shock. Oh, well. Don't forget to hit the like button. The Cash App is Carcino. Support the page, Karceno. Hit the like button, it's free. The Joe and Jay-Z thing. What Jay-Z thing? I mean, you guys got to be a little bit more specific because everybody's all over the place. I don't know who you talking about or how somebody has subs. I don't really care about other people's subs or what's going on. So I don't even look at that stuff. But of course he's gonna bring them back. I don't know if they're gonna be back on the show. I know they came back on the show to do this, but to me, if he's gonna move forward without them and go with Ish and Ice, I mean, you got a couple of Ish and Ice supporters, but I'm not interested in watching the show with Ish and Ice. I don't want to see you do a show with your homeboys and they're just there to basically not rock the boat. You know, I can tell when someone's deliberately trying to do something for the show. You know, like sometimes you see Skip and Shannon basically arguing both sides of the coin just to be arguing it. You know, it's like, okay, they need to debate something. They can't both agree on this. Even though they do, somebody's got to find a way to disagree with something. So somebody's got to pick one of the sides and ride with it. The Joe Budden podcast is done. It's not done. The thing is that when you have a better chemistry with Maul and Rory, that's hard to find. It's the perfect chemistry. That's why sometimes doing business and doing podcasts and things like that with your friends, you're risking your friendship. Every time you're risking your friendship. Every time you do it, you're risking being friends with somebody. 100%. Yeah, Rory was in Atlanta. He told him to take the week off and all that stuff. We know about all that. And Joe was mad. So Rory already was in his feelings about some other stuff because he had other problems going on. And like I tell you, some of these people like affirmation. They want to be patted on the back. They like attaboys and all that stuff. Like, you know, to me, grown men got to be grown. And I understand Joe on that point. But if Rory had these problems, or Joe shouldn't have handled it the way he did. But Joe is a bipolar human being. You know this. The man's on meds for a reason. This is what you're dealing with. And if your boss is this type of way and have this type of temperament, why do you want him to behave in such a way? Like, but he got to at least show us some respect. Dude, you knew Joe Budden was this way when you start working with him. If you didn't, then you the fool. You're the fool. You know, so everybody has to realize their role and what they played in this. You know, Joe's gonna be Joe. He's not gonna change. Of course he does. Joe lives in this. He breathe, eat, and sleep in this circle. This is how he moves. Joe loves this. Chaotic. Living in chaos all the time. This is what he does 24/7. So that's that. Yeah, it's about 50 degrees outside. Look, see, LB will tell you. He's like, I wasn't watching it with Ish and Isis on there. It was weak. Of course it was weak. And you got all these idiots talking about Ish and Isis better. I'm like, y'all just trying to start some controversy. Because believe me, anybody could watch that show could tell you. Ish and Ice do not have the same. Joe knows that. They know that. They've seen Ish and Ice on that show. And then they felt a certain way, like, we felt a certain way while, you know, you ran the show. Well, Joe's supposed to run the show. There's other people there got to eat. You know, this is his show. Like, this is all Joe has, is this podcast. His whole, like he said, my whole life is tied to this podcast. It is. If that podcast go, Joe's done. So people got to understand, like, this thing is bigger than what everybody else might think they know about something. It's much bigger than that. This is a multi-million-dollar business. And when you got money involved, people are always going to be unhappy with situations and feel like they're entitled to more things than they probably should. Now, everybody's attitude might change because of money. You never know. There's all kind of problems that come up when that happens. Me, I don't follow those tropes. I don't make decisions really based on money. If I did it based on money, I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't. So, on that note, let me go over here, see what's going on. Oh, now I gotta go bail my buddy out of jail. You see what I'm saying? My day never ends. See? He has some raggedy police jail. I gotta go bail him out. You see that little house there? That's the police station. That little bitty house. I hope I don't walk my ass in there and get arrested with him. Be like, oh, so here's your damn getaway, buddy. He came back. Boy, you sure is dumb. Yep, we got a cell in there for you, too. I'll be like, I just came here to bail him out. Yep. Well, you need someone to bail you out now. So let me go in here and see what's happening. Obviously, this is probably going to be a hood story. I'll say that for the Patreon, though.